Hello, everyone. This is Tuesday, October 23rd, and this is the weekly meeting for Kubernetes SIG Docs. This is a fourth Tuesday, so we are hosting this at 7 p.m. Pacific in order to accommodate more contributors from the Asia-Pacific regions. There's been a slight mix-up with Zoom, so I think our attendance is artificially low. So if you are watching this after the fact, I deeply apologize. All right, let us go to our agenda. I see no new contributors, but happy to see you all. Do we have any updates? Updates or reminders this week? None? Okay. Then let's move on to our agenda. If you have not had the chance yet to look at any of the Kubernetes modeling project that Andrew Chen and Dominic Torno are putting together, this link to a model with showing the modeling project for high availability is a good update, good place to start. So that is available. That's something that's going on. That's one of the content projects right now for SIG Docs is increasing, having a better onboarding experience through adding modeling to documentation. Let's see. Steve, I have an item, I think, from last week talking about GitHub project cleanup. I'm going to recommend that we defer maybe a larger discussion to next week, but do you want to give an update on that just briefly?
Sure, it's pretty straightforward. I went to our project at Kubernetes website, and I thinned it out, and I reduced the number of columns, and what's there is, what I think of as the top 6 or 7 things. And people can add things if they feel strongly about them, but I thought the best approach would be to have 6 or 7 things that we think of as our priorities for this quarter. And my other thought was, let's get rid of the columns for in progress and completed, because we don't tend to keep those up to date with the issues themselves. So my thought is, or was, let's just track whether something's been taken in the issue itself and the PR, and let's track whether something is complete in the issue and the PR. But Andrew pointed out today that we can actually set up in progress and completed columns that will automatically update themselves according to the issue and the PR. So I think that if we can get that set up, that would be fine. But I just, my main thought was I don't want to try to manually keep track of that information 2 places. I just would like to keep it simple. And I think we ought to have 2 projects only. One called doc writing and editing. Right now I have 5 projects in there.
Steve, are you in a place where you can share your screen easily?
Sure, yep. Well, I don't know, I've never tried it in Zoom, so let me see if I can see how to do that. What do I do in Zoom? I don't see any button for it.
Green button right down at the bottom called share.
There we go. Okay. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. So here's a project called Doc Writing and Editing. It has 5 issues listed. I'd say let's keep a small list until we're seeing progress on those, unless somebody feels strongly about something they would like to do. They could add it to this list and then get started on it. And then the other project is Doc Sprints, where I think we ought to keep track of upcoming and current doc sprints, and then at the end of a given doc sprint, clean this out.
So I am on board with everything that you're proposing. For GitHub does have some really cool project automation tools that will
Mm-hmm.
automate things like in progress and complete. So if we can implement those, I think that's a good idea. But otherwise, I agree. Let's let issues and PRs be self-tracking in terms of completion and openness. I do have a question though about number of projects. Claudia and Junyi, do you intend to use a project board for your localization work? Is that something that you want or would find helpful, or would you just rather not deal with projects at all?
Actually, we used the project function in GitHub when we had a separated repository. But I think it is enough when you can add a label to the issue or PR.
Okay, so no need for a project then?
Yes.
Okay, great. So in that case, Steve, I think that's a reasonable limitation on projects, is limiting projects to doc writing and editing and sprints. That seems totally reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you can go ahead and stop sharing, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, I lost my agenda window. I have to go find it again. All right. Let's talk about, this is more of a reminder than an actual agenda item. I added a link to the Slack channel for SIG Docs tools, and that's a specific discussion for Docs tooling proposals and questions. Luke, do you want to say anything about SIG Docs tools, or is it just enough to mention it?
Yeah, so basically what we were hoping to do in the last meeting, but I think that we didn't quite have quorum for that kind of discussion, was to begin to potentially, or maybe not, kind of concretize what exactly the SIG Docs tooling working group does. Thus far, it's been a very kind of ad hoc ragtag effort where we have a channel of people who are, enthusiastic about these things and want to improve the lives of others. But we don't, thus far our efforts are basically, we'll address one particular issue and then we'll move on to the next issue, move on to the next issue. And what I wanted to sort of discuss a bit with the group is what you all would like for us to do. If you'd like for it to be a more settled structure with its own weekly meeting, or if you have thoughts on what the appropriate venue for our discussions and for our proceedings would be, and so on and so forth. If everybody is content with things the way they are, I'm perfectly happy to leave them that way. But I just wanted to check in.
Sure. Does anyone have really strong ideas or opinions about how docs tooling happens right now, or are we content for docs tools to continue on an ad hoc basis?
I feel like docs tools should continue as they see fit, because I'm so happy that we have a group who's committed to this, and so I'm just thrilled about that. And I think whatever that group thinks is the best, probably is the best for right now.
I agree, Luke. I see no reason to impose artificial structure. If what you have is working right now, great. If you're happy, we're happy, I think is what we're all saying, and we're happy to have you.
Yeah, I promised a while back to check in a few weeks after starting the group. So here's me checking in.
Awesome. Thank you.
So
Yeah, go
one
for it.
thing we might want to do right now, I know that I'm one of the owners, maybe the only owner, I'm not sure, of the Kubernetes Incubator Reference Docs repository. And I think fairly soon we need to have someone else own that, or at least someone else be an owner of that. So in the tools, if you could just kind of keep that in mind if anybody would like to take that on.
Yeah, for sure. Could you jump into the SIG Docs tools channel and maybe provide some more info, and we'll see if there's an enthusiastic party that wants to jump at that?
Sure. Yep.
All right. Sounds great, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Excellent. Moving on. Let's talk about internationalization. Now that folks have had a chance to see some of the changes and give feedback, I just want to cover some of the highlights for internationalization. We have language labels set up now that they are applied natively in PROW. If you open a PR and you're changing files in a certain content subdirectory, like if you actually, let me share my screen. And get all right, can everyone see this okay?
Yep.
Okay, so you'll notice here that there is a pull request open 10719. It's for the first Korean localization work on the dev-1.13 branch. And you'll see that it has this label here, language/KO. And that was opened by Junyi. And Junyi, was this automatically applied, or did you manually apply the label?
It is automatically applied.
Awesome. And you can see that there are other labels. Probably the most common label will be language/EN. And Steve, if you remember a year ago, our initial rationale for farming out localizations to other repositories was because we didn't want to be inundated by the flow of PRs that we couldn't meaningfully review. So the nice thing now is that reviewers can filter by the language label and one and done. So yeah, that is the credit for that, I think, goes to Junyi and Claudia for helping us understand the specific challenges that they were facing with internationalization, and also to Zach Arnold for having the idea to add and automate label application. So
yep, yeah, it looks fantastic. Yeah, so thank you.
Very cool progress. Seems so civilized.
Indeed. All right.
Well, lights just went out in my building.
Oh wow.
Those lights are out on purpose.
Well, the Wi-Fi's not down at least.
I have sort of a ghostly look. It'll work.
Right, it's fitting for the season, I suppose. All right, so language labels are a thing. Let's see, write permissions for creating branches and labels. Junyi helpfully pointed out that in order to create long-running branches for localization projects, that team leads need write permissions to the repo. So I created a team in GitHub, and I added folks to that team. I've got an issue open for it. I'm going to paste this link into chat. So the issue is 10682, and Junyi and Claudia, I suspect that this is correct for the Korean team. If there are other people that you would like to add to that particular management team, let me know. But for folks who are watching this on the Japanese and Chinese teams, if these are not the people that well, if this works for you, great. If there are other people that you would like to be in charge of long-running branches, please let me know. Issue comment is great. So let's see, Claudia, Junyi, are there any other needs around internationalization that that are outstanding? Do you have what you need? Is there anything else that we can help with?
No, I don't have. Claudia, do you have any?
So we will apply another proper review now.
Oh, the README, right. Thank you. Yes, I saw that. I saw the issue open. And thank you, Claudia, for opening that pull request to add the specificity about localized READMEs. That was very helpful, so thank you. Okay, that is it for what I had for the agenda this week. Is there anything else that folks would like to discuss in the time we have remaining? Steve, if you're raising your hand, I'm sorry, I can't see you. All right.
I was muted too. So anyway, I'm not raising my hand. So okay to go.
I was going to recommend a GoFundMe to buy him a flashlight.
Right, it
Yeah,
looks
I
like
guess
your emergency lighting has gone out now too. I can just see this ghostly reflection of your monitor in your glasses.
This is dedication, I tell you.
This is, I tell you. All right. Well,
okay.
If that is all.
All right.
That's a SIG meeting. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you for your patience. Take care.
Bye.